Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for something a little bit different. You know, we haven't been doing previews on here in a good long while, and especially not live. But here we are today, doing a live preview ahead of Leicester City versus Chelsea. But not to forget, by far the biggest news of today, but by far the biggest news since Chelsea signed Kai Havertz, if we're going to be totally honest with ourselves, because reportedly, according to the Athletic, who aren't exactly like a random source, Chelsea, and especially Roman Abramovich, want Erling Haaland in the summer at all costs. And to discuss all of that, I'm not here by myself, but as you can see on screen, the man himself, the long-time G, Carefree Lewis G. My brother.
Bro, what are you saying? You good?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, Lewis is really close to hitting 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. So go down below, subscribe to him right now if you haven't already. It is a bit weird if you're subscribed to me, but not him. Don't know how that happens. But if it somehow does, go and subscribe to him, hit the @ in the title, and you going straight to his channel. So subscribe to that. Subscribe to me if you haven't already. That'd be brilliant. And smash the like button. But we have a lot of things to talk about. I would personally suggest, just because, you know, previews, we do that all the bloody time. We play Leicester every season. We're not linked to Erling bloody Haaland every season. So I would suggest we start talking with that. We start talking about that. And the reports came out today. Now, first of all, just quickly, a quick answer. Do you think that's a good idea, or do you think that's a bad idea, getting Haaland?
Easy answer. Yeah, I'm going to take that and run. I don't care. Like, I've waited so long for a clinical striker, and I'm not going to say this in terms of me overreacting, because I said Timo Werner was never going to be a clinical striker, and we all knew that. If you watch Timo Werner, he don't score every chance. He ain't that sort of striker. He creates a lot of chances and gets a lot of chances per game, but he don't score a lot of chances. What's his name? Erling Haaland. If you look clinical up in the dictionary, you got a photo of Erling Haaland right next to it. Do you know how much Chelsea, we create so many chances per game, and it's not just this season. The last 4 seasons, our chance creation to conversion rate is mad. We make so many chances and we put barely any of them away. We need someone who is an absolute killer in the 18-yard box, and that is Erling Haaland. So, yeah, we've spent 250 plus this season already. I don't care. We'll go spend another $1 million and get Erling Haaland, because, yeah, Erling Haaland might be one of the final pieces in the puzzle. A clinical striker, we are title contenders straight up. That's the one thing we need. And that's the one. Any team with a 20-plus goal a season striker has a chance to win the Premier League. Erling Haaland is probably a 30-goal a season striker. 35 games at Borussia Dortmund, 35 goals. This kid is ridiculous. So, yeah, Erling Haaland, will find a way to fit him into the team. I don't care. This is Chelsea 2003 back again, but we move. I'm happy. I will take him any day of the week.
Exactly. Like, I think before I get into any sort of small concerns I will talk about the positives. And like you said, he's one of the best finishers in the entirety of world football. Obviously, he started getting big in the Austrian league at Red Bull Salzburg. So let me just claim that I've known about him for a little bit longer than a lot of other people, but that was the Austrian league. So I wasn't 100% sure how seriously to take that. Then he was in the Champions League with Salzburg and was banging in goals left, right, and centre against Liverpool, against Napoli, against everybody. The man was scoring against everybody. And I was like, oh, he's serious. He's serious. And then he goes to Dortmund last year in January, pretty much exactly a year ago, scores a bloody hat-trick on his debut and just keeps scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring. The man is fast like crazy. I'm telling you guys, he's not a lot slower than Timo Werner. He's so crazy fast. Obviously, a different kind of quick. Not quite as quick on the first couple of years.
It's a powerful bit of pace on him as well. That's perfect.
Honestly, he's huge and so fast and so strong. And I think everyone remembers that goal against PSG at home. Obviously, they lost in the second leg, but at home, the way he rifled that ball into the net, it was like a cannonball. It really was like cannonball. The guy's got it all. And just recently against, I think it was Hertha Berlin that they were playing against, and they were struggling in the first half. Second half, he comes on back from his injury, and the man scored 2 goals, does dribbling like all sorts. They win the game 3-2. The man does a lot of incredible things, and he's only 20 years of age, so he will only get better. But let me get to a couple of negatives. First of all, just to clarify, if people don't know, he has a release clause of around, of 75 million euros, which, depending on how the pound goes up and down by the time that becomes into effect, somewhere between 65 and 70 million pounds. But that only comes into effect summer of 2022, or maybe January of 2022, not this summer. And that is why Chelsea might think we stand a chance now, because all the other clubs, especially in Spain, they're so strongly hit by obviously the current world situation financially that the likes of Real Madrid won't be able to afford Erling Haaland this summer. And obviously, it probably doesn't go for Manchester United and Man City. If they want him this summer, they probably can get him this summer, let's be honest. But we still think we probably stand a bit of a better chance now than we do a season after. A bit like with Kai Havertz last summer, I guess. But that would, first of all, mean I think they would ask a lot of money. Anything above 100 million euros could be anything. 100, 120, 150 could be anything. Secondly, his agent is...
back.
Sorry?
Can we send them back Schwei back? Take 20 million off the transfer fee or some shit.
Aye, why not? Do exactly that. Why not? Just give him that. Just give him that. Obviously, his agent is also Mino Raiola, who we haven't had the best experiences with. Just mentioning Romelu Lukaku, and I keep saying I don't really want the player that's contracted to Mino Raiola. Maybe I would have to make an exception for Erling Haaland. I won't lie.
Ain't we in for Donnarumma too?
Well, apparently. So then we'd have two Mino Raiola players, which I don't know if that's equally as bad or even worse. I don't know.
That's probably worse. Oh, you got problems with one of our players? Cool, we'll take both of them.
Yeah, they're probably like that. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And one other small issue is, as much as he's an unbelievable finisher and his movement in the box is sick, if you watch him, a lot of the goals he scores are like all these balls in behind and all this space, and he makes this space for him. With his pace, he can use it. But as we're currently learning with Timo Werner, that doesn't happen every game that we have this space. Yeah, it happens later on in games like against Fulham once we took the lead. And yeah, it would have been lovely had we just taken those chances. But I'm not sure if you've steeped it, Lewis. Timo Werner all his misses haven't actually cost Chelsea a single point yet. And you know how many chances he's missed? All of these games we won anyway. Whether it was Leeds, whether it's Rennes, whether it was Newcastle, whether it was Fulham now, all these chances, every single one, we won the game anyway. So it just shows you, it's like we get these huge chances once we're in the lead anyway, or against someone that we're going to beat anyway. So that's my only slight worry. We kind of saw that already with Werner. The Bundesliga is not quite the same thing, but I do believe Haaland is much better suited to the Prem.
Definitely, and I think Ian said it on my last stream perfectly. We always go for these players that are similar types of players. Like, I don't want to put Werner in the same conversation as these guys, but like players the same type, like a Morata, like a Torres that likes making runs in behind and has good movement about them. And to be honest, out of all of them, I think Timo Werner is the best movement out of them by far. You said it perfectly, and I actually like that stat as well. I'm gonna have to scout that. I can't lie. But the fact that none of those misses have ever contributed to a lost point for us, that is crazy. I didn't know that. But
I mean, this is not a stat I know. It's just something I thought about and realized. Maybe I'm a little bit wrong, but I'm pretty sure of this.
No, but this is also why I think all of the stick that Timo Werner's getting right now is just a bit annoying, to be honest, because it's literally the finishing that is the only problem. It's not a case like Alvaro Morata, where his all-round play just absolutely reeks and he don't press and he has no link-up play. He just does nothing except just drift around spaces for 90 minutes. This guy creates a lot of chances. This guy drops deep to get involved in link-up play, and his link-up play is good. He's got a lot of good play with Mason Mount, with Ben Chilwell on the left-hand side. He can play a good game. It's just the final product, the finish, just isn't there right now. And that's the only difference between a world-class striker and where Timo Werner is right now. So it's annoying that he's getting all this stick. It is also annoying that his conversion rate absolutely reeks right now, and he does need to improve on that. You won't get given as many opportunities in the Bundesliga as you will in the Premier League. That just also screams adapting. He needs time as well. Timo Werner and Erling Haaland could be an absolutely ridiculous pairing together if we can get that sorted and we can get a system that complements the pair of them well, or we can allow them to complement each other in a good way. It could be an excellent partnership. It's not to say this replaces Timo Werner. If anything, we'll find a way to fit both of them in. We're just going to lose a striker to get a striker, and we all know Olivier Giroud is not going to be here past the end of the season. Like, I was surprised that we even kept him for this season. Quality striker, but also deserves more game time. We all know that, and he isn't going to get that game time here. Also, because we can't afford to give him that game time. He's 34 years old. He can't really do more than one game a week. He can't do for full 90 minutes in a game consistently. So it's understandable why we don't continuously rely on him like that. But same way, if we want a brute animal like Olivier Giroud, Erling Haaland, right there. What if we add him already spoken about the chance creation, but the league title would be on a silver plate. It would be. It wouldn't be a competition. That midfield and Erling Haaland in the middle is finished.
Honestly, it really is. I mean, he's what 6'3", 6'4". Like we touched on already.
Apparently,
exactly
in this comment section. I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so. But he's mad. But like we touched on already, he's mad fast. Like people always think only small players are fast. That's why people don't understand how fast Tammy actually is. But if Usain Bolt, I think is 6'4" as well, the fastest man to ever live on this planet. He's 6'4". Just being tall doesn't mean you're slow. Just because Giroud is tall and slow doesn't mean everyone is.
Yeah, you can play speed. Like, see, what was his name? Tammy Abraham. Yeah, I don't know how fast he is.
He claims he's the fastest at the club, doesn't he?
He what?
He claims he's the fastest player at the club.
I want to hear at how many meters, because you could be the one where it's like I can be the fastest in 1,000 meters, or I could be the fastest in 30 meters or something like that. He could have good acceleration on him. I don't think he's slow. I don't think he's an absolute tree that can't turn to save his life.
I think the longer the distance goes, I think the more of a chance he gets, because he's just tall and his stride. With his stride, I would understand if he could outrun someone like Werner, who's just much shorter than him.
Yeah.
But over a few yards, there's no chance. But hey, there is positives. One thing, you touched on it already, and someone, let me say, Wayne, put it in the chat. What formation will we play with Haaland? Because you said it doesn't necessarily mean Werner has to dip, but that's the situation. How many formations are there where you can realistically use both while also still having Hudson-Odoi, Christian Pulisic, and them lot around, and Kai Havertz, and Hakim Ziyech? Like, how are you going to fit all of these lot in one team? That's where a little bit of the issue comes in. Yes, because I'm personally not a fan of two strikers up front, because there's no good team in the world that actually uses two strikers up front. As in no top team. No top team that wins their own league titles. No top team that wins Champions Leagues. No one uses two up top. In my opinion, that surely
do you know any teams that would have two quality strikers that should be starting and don't?
Well, you could argue City do with Aguero and Jesus, but other than that,
probably not. Argument. But also, same way, do you think Aguero's at the point where he can play 2 games a season? Injuries are really catch up on him.
That's true. That's true. I mean, Jovic obviously went back to Frankfurt now. Madrid had Jovic and Benzema. If they just gave Jovic more time, I guarantee
Jovic just slapped Zidane in the face yesterday. It was absolutely
honestly. Did you see just that? 28 minutes, 2 goals.
2 goals, man.
32 games, 2 goals. It's mad.
I'm not gonna lie, I was watching and I was thinking, why did you pick Madrid, man? You're absolute waste, man. You could have come Chelsea, bruv. You'd be next to Timo Werner as well.
He makes a fair point. Atletico do play 2 up top. That is fair.
Oh, yeah. Atletico Madrid, yes.
I mean, hey, as much as I rate them, and as much that they're going to slap us when we play them, I don't want to be playing football like Atletico Madrid do. I don't want to be sitting back against everybody. We've done that with Kante. I've had enough of it. I don't want to see it anymore. Okay, I'd be happy with it when we win the league. Sure, I would. But we can't win the league every season. And then whenever we don't win the league, I'd be disappointed. And same, to be fair, Inter as well, but they ain't winning nothing. So
it is the thing. I'd take 4-4-2 diamond, but we need 2 wingers that can track back. Now, Hudson-Odoi's improved at it, so I'd be willing to give him a run out in one of the wing positions. But out of one of Ziyech and Pulisic, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not too sure about Pulisic's tracking back, but Hakim Ziyech, I've already seen enough games. They don't really track back as much as I prefer him to. We need
his tracking back is maybe not always the greatest, but his work rate is insane. Like, he's one of the up there with Mount, I think, in the pressing work rate. So I think if you told him we need you more back than the pressing, I think that would be okay.
Yeah, to be honest, Pulisic was dropping a lot deeper in the Fulham game as well to try and get more touches and be a bit more creative, because he was struggling further forward. So I could see that he could do that. Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi maybe as the 2 wingers. Maybe. I do think we need a more natural DM for that to work, though. I think Kante would get absolutely obliterated in that system. But that would be a potential. Would you want to see 3 at the back? Maybe, because you could use Reece James as a wing back. I'd have no complaints about that. Ben Chilwell on the left-hand side maybe as well, but we need more midfield positions in there as well. Our midfield is absolutely stacked right now, and if we want to play 2 up front, realistically, we're taking a midfielder out of the equation to do that. I don't know. It's a bit of a sticky one. Like, we got a bunch of deadwood that we need to get rid of rid out the side anyway, and we're struggling to do that because we want the clubs to reach our valuation fees, and they're not doing it.
Exactly.
Kai Havertz will get into the side regardless. If we play with a cam, it will be in behind the strikers.
For sure. The thing is just, for me, a 4-4-2 diamond is all well and good, but if you play a 4-4-2 diamond with wingers rather than wide centre mids, you know, the initial idea of our 4-4-2 diamond was like Kante, Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek and Mount or something. That was our last season when we spoke about this. This was like how we imagined it, not really using wingers. Imagine you have wingers and, you know, we already now get exposed in midfield sometimes when people just run at Kante or whoever the DM is. And that's when we have 2 eights. So imagine a 4-4-2 diamond with just the DM and 2 wingers. Like, we will be so open down the middle, I'm fearing.
At the very least, you could, if the whole reason why we persist with Werner on the left wing is to actually try and get him more comfortable in the position for future seasons, maybe if he gets more comfortable there, left wing Werner could work. I've already said I prefer Timo Werner on the right-hand side because I feel it's more comfortable in that position, but I think that would be a bit less feasible. Up front, it'd have to be in a 2-man midfield, but I'm not really too sure. Like, we have too many players in the squad to get rid of first before we can then look at a set formation. Because right now we've got too many players to please already. So 5 centre backs, 3 left backs, 4 goalkeepers, 6 centre mids, 3 strikers right now. We're about to go get a 4th. We've got a massive squad, and that's why Frank Lampard's also falling out with all the fringe players as well.
Yeah, no, it's true. And the issue is also, I mean, you say that about Timo Werner on the wing, but I just wouldn't prefer him over any of our wingers on the wing. Like, he's a decent option on the wing, don't get me wrong. I know he's been in poor form, but when he's in decent form, Timo Werner on the wing, when with injuries it's needed, when with rotation it's needed, is a decent option. Like, people hate on it a little bit too much. That's not why Werner struggled. Yes, against some opponents, that's not it. When he needs to start dribbling, it's not it. But when we can hit on the break and he comes in from the left, that works perfectly well. But would I want him over Hudson-Odoi, over Pulisic, over Ziyech? Personally, I wouldn't, because I don't think he gives us more than any of these guys. So that's why I think signing Haaland would be the biggest issue for Timo Werner. We try it, but I think we'd realise after a season or 2 that it ain't working, and then it's not Haaland that suffers from it, but Werner, personally.
Yeah, but also the same way, if we go and just decide which one's a better striker, it would be Haaland. Like, even if we couldn't find a way to fit them both, I still wouldn't say no to Erling Haaland as a response to that, because Erling Haaland is going straight to the damn top. Timo Werner's a system striker, which means you have to play to his strengths. Erling Haaland is just going to be a straight-up animal. So, I mean, regardless of the situation, it might just be a sticky one for Timo Werner, but welcome to Chelsea, innit?
Exactly. Welcome to Chelsea. A mate said to me, who's not a Chelsea fan, he's like, how many more strikers are Chelsea going to sign? And I'm like, well, if you just keep signing them, one of them will come good eventually.
Exactly that. We will keep signing until we find the right one. And then when we find the right one, we'll buy more strikers to make him competitive. So welcome to Chelsea.
Yeah. If you just don't give up on it. And when Roman Abramovich wants something, Roman Abramovich gets something. I watched a video recently by the Simon React. I'm not sure whether you saw that. They were reacting to like the 10 most expensive gifts of all time. And I think at number 1 or number 2 was Roman Abramovich buying his new girlfriend a $1.5 billion art collection. I'm like, bro, if the man spends $1.5 billion on a new girlfriend, mate, I want Haaland and everybody else in the world.
Bro, man, 1 billion. What?
1 billion, yeah.
That's the first time I've heard this. What the hell, man? And it was an art collection. I thought you were going to say another yacht or something, but it was photos. I can't be asked.
Yeah, photos and painting and sculptures and all sorts of crap.
I actually can't be asked, man.
I mean, Ober's making a reasonable, point as well. Let's be real. We're not getting Haaland. We might not. But hey, as we learned last season, when Chelsea are serious, Chelsea are serious.
Exactly. We're moving because we know in the summer we might have a very similar situation that we did last season, where we have all the money and nobody else in the market does, which basically means we make our own prices, we make our own claims in the market. This season, there'll be a lot less clubs around for us than last season. I mean, than next season when the actual 62 million release clause comes in. So yeah, why don't Chelsea go in now instead of the season afterwards? Because this would be another Havertz situation where it's like, if we don't get him now, we aren't getting him. Exactly. He ain't going to come around next season. So if we have a chance to get Haaland, get Haaland, because like we said, we have a very young squad that could rule Europe for years. And we still have a very young squad that could rule Europe for years. Get Erling Haaland, we will rule Europe for years. That's a fact. I don't care. I will start getting confident again. I'll start getting cocky and all of that. When you got a team at that quality and that level of potential, you're damn right. Reece James, fucking, we'll go into youth players as well. Players like Billy Gilmour. You got players like Callum Hudson-Odoi, Hakim Ziyech, Pulisic, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, and you want to add Erling Haaland on top, and then you're going to tell me we're not absolutely going to batter our positions for years? Yes, please. This is the sort
Don't forget Reece James eventually, bro. Don't forget Reece James eventually.
Exactly. And then we got players coming out of the youth academy too. Le Cobham is ridiculous as well. And half of the players coming out of Le Cobham aren't even going to make it at Chelsea. That's how competitive it is here. But that's how hard the competition needs to be. Look at Didier Drogba's best years. His best years was when he was playing with a quality striker that would get the best out of it. Nicolas Anelka straight off the golden boot, competing with him for his spot. Andrei Shevchenko, a 30 million striker coming in to compete with his squad. Both got the best out of him because he's an animal. Erling Haaland will be the exact same. If anything, he's going to be more clinical and more prolific in the league than Drogba was. So let's do it. Let's go for it.
Exactly. I mean, TMX Oblivion does make a fair point. What if by the time Haaland does come, Timo Werner has adapted fully and outshines Haaland because Haaland is adapting, and then we'll have the same issues with Haaland. But I don't know. Maybe it's just being positive. But when we signed Haaland, when we signed Werner, I was always like, yeah, he's great at a certain something. When you hit on the break, and I'm expecting him to be a bit better at finishing than he has been. We know he wasn't the most clinical player in the world. We knew that. But I expected him to be better than he has been so far. And I'm sure he will be eventually. But I also knew that when we play against a team that just sits deep and crowds their box, Timo Werner ain't a striker that you want to have in your team. Doesn't really matter whether that's on the wing or up top, quite frankly. But, you know, who knows? I just don't see that issue so much with Haaland. I mean, he went from the Austrian Bundesliga to the German Bundesliga, which is a significantly tougher step than going from the German Bundesliga to the Premier League. Trust me. Like, that is so much more different.
The Austrian league to the Bundesliga.
Yeah. Like,
to be honest, educate me. Go on then. Why is that?
Like, because our league, the level here, it's just like, you know, if the Prem's here and the Bundesliga say here, the Austrian league is about like here. Yes, it's gotten better over the last few seasons, and Salzburg have been in the Champions League, and a couple of clubs have made it into the Europa League group stages, and even a couple of them past the group stages. One of them, a really small club from a small, almost a village, has made it past Feyenoord in the Europa League and is now in the round of 32. So fair play. But it's not a consistent thing that we're good. You know, Red Bull Salzburg have won every league title for the past 10 years. And for the past 13 or 14 years, every title but one. So, you know, that's why we hate Red Bull here. Because who the fuck wants to watch a league where the same team wins 10, 15 titles in a row? No one cares. It's like bloody Italy. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one cares. So that's why it's a bit there. But and Salzburg are a good team, don't get me wrong. But the opposition is still very different. Like, they did well against Liverpool and Napoli. They're good. But still, to do it consistently like Haaland is doing it in the Bundesliga, that is very impressive at only 20 years of age. And the fact that he scored 9 goals in an under-21s match for Norway is crazy anyway. 9 goals in a game.
He's a freak of a striker, man. His finishing is ridiculous. He's the genuine definition of a complete striker right now. And the thing is, he's only getting better as well. Right now, we're still only seeing glimpses of what his final form is going to be like. And it's not to say he'll be at Chelsea for the next decade. I even think with Kai Havertz, we're going to see an Eden Hazard situation where eventually he is going to want to go to Real Madrid because Real Madrid is his dream club. Erling Haaland might be the exact same, but what carnage is he going to do at Chelsea before he leaves? That's the real question.
And TMX Oblivion asked a good question. I do dislike Timo Werner to some extent because he came from a Red Bull team. The difference with Haaland is that he went from a Red Bull team, used that as a simple stepping stone, and didn't go to Leipzig from Salzburg, which so many of them do. Like Naby Keita did that, and Sabitzer did that, and a fair few of them did that. Obviously, Mane didn't. He went straight to Southampton from Salzburg. But still, he went to Dortmund, which is like, structurally of a club, it's like the kind of club I almost love the most. Like, all the fans, you know, huge stands, all the supporters, like, it's all about the fans, and it's not what Red Bull do. So, you know, him moving to Dortmund has kind of made me like him again, if that makes sense. I said it was because he Yeah, that's also true. But then I learned that apparently Timo Werner has some sort of ear issue, and because the noise like he had an ear issue, and that's why the noise made him feel dizzy and whatever. So then fair enough. But obviously we have spoken about Erling Haaland for quite a bit, about what system we should use with Timo Werner and this and that. Spoken about all of this. How about we get into talking about tomorrow night's game, which is a big game for Chelsea, a big game for Frank Lampard. Leicester City against Chelsea Football Club. Of course, Frank Lampard did confirm earlier today that N'Golo Kante was annoyingly still out injured, which we don't want to hear. Everyone else should be fit, but N'Golo Kante isn't back fit. And of course, we saw against Fulham, Jorginho, I think he wasn't as bad as Kovacic, but he wasn't great. And then you have issues like, Billy Gilmour. Is it so much different? Is it that much better? This and that. You have these issues. But I think there's a lot of things that they are there to discuss because it's a tricky one. And also, I think we need to find out what happens if we don't win or say we lose. But before we do that, we do have the first super chat of the day. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I won't get to every single chat message today. So if you want to make sure that I do see your message, don't hesitate to use the super chat function. But of course, you don't have to. Not going to make you pay for anything, of course. But Rodrigo Brothers, good name, I rate it, said, I think we need to get rid of Lampard first, then move for Haaland. Lampard is tactically inept and he isn't utilizing the players we have now. Now, I will admit that some people have this opinion. I, to some extent, disagree. But what I especially will disagree is, will we get Haaland without Lampard? Because Haaland said in interviews, the one player that he would have loved to play with, the one retired player, is Frank Lampard. Not Steven Gerrard, not bloody, I don't know. I mean, obviously, Messi and Ronaldo are still playing, so he couldn't have used those. But not R9, Ronaldo, none of these players. He said Frank Lampard. He didn't say Xavi. He didn't say Iniesta. He didn't say bloody who? Xabi Alonso. No, he said Frank Lampard. So I actually think having Frank Lampard in charge makes getting Haaland a bit easier than having anybody else. Maybe a German Bundesliga manager, Nagelsmann, might work for that too. But I'm generally...
power is real.
Go on.
Lampard's pull power is real. That's the one thing I could say about his time at Chelsea. He knew how to get a player invested in the club. Lampard, I've already said, if he leaves as a great transitional manager. And to be honest, I wouldn't even want him to leave. If he could take it respectfully, I'd just give him a simple demotion. Frank Lampard as assistant manager behind maybe a Nagelsmann or a Tuchel or another manager they can continue to learn from while he develops his understanding of the game would be an excellent option. I think that would be the perfect little bridge and the perfect thing for Frank Lampard. As a manager, might be a bit too out of place. I can't lie. He is learning on the job. We can't really gauge what Frank Lampard's like as a manager compared to other managers. We were discussing this before we even went on the live stream about Frank Lampard and the in and out debates and everything like that. Half the reason why we were late as well, for all you guys who were watching who was still here at the start. But Frank Lampard as assistant manager would be an amazing option. He'd also get to keep the pull power as well. Half the reason why we got these players is because Frank Lampard got them invested in his project. Kai Havertz said he was invested in Lampard. Werner, same thing. Ziyech, the same thing. Thiago Silva, the same thing as well. So there is something to this manager. He ain't just a complete bum like an Arteta or an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's just a bit out of it. Same way with all three of them, but I still back Lampard as a better manager than Ole or Arteta is.
Yeah, I agree with this. I also think that, and I know obviously Frank has put his staff together himself, but I think part of the problem is also that all of his staff is inexperienced. There is, Joe Edwards, he's inexperienced. Jody Morris is equally as inexperienced. Other than working with the academy, it's not first team football as Frank Lampard is. I think if you had a more experienced assistant coach, for example, as Steve Holland, I think Frank would also be doing a lot better, because where his inexperience comes in, but he has positives, you would need someone to kind of make up for that inexperience and have someone there, but we don't have that. So I'd also think I'm still Lampard in, like Lewis said, we touched on this before the stream, but I think what would help him as well, if let's just assume Lampard stays, to make him better, I think a more experienced assistant manager would help. And obviously I see a lot of people saying Lampard out and this and that, and I see a lot of people saying the Germans are coming and we're buying all of these Bundesliga players. But personally, I don't think to sign Nagelsmann, we need all these Bundesliga players. We just need good players. It doesn't really matter where they come from, in my opinion.
We're not setting out the team for Nagelsmann or anything like that. That's just a massive conspiracy theory. He's just a really attractive option to a lot of people. That's all.
Exactly. I agree with this. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching right now, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to myself, subscribe to Lewis, hit the @ in the title to get to his channel. I hope him reach 20,000 subscribers. But like we said, N'Golo Kante is injured. How about we go through the team that, let's say that we would like to see starting, all right? I think we can
We'd
both
like
agree.
to see start or the one that Lampard's going to probably pick.
Let's do both. Let's start with what we'd like to see. Because I think we can both agree Edouard Mendy will be in goal, right?
Yeah. Please.
Yeah, exactly.
No one else.
Thiago Silva probably will start, even if he's 36. He can probably handle this because he will be rested against Luton on Sunday, I assume. So he should be fine.
Yeah, I'll back that. Also, no, we don't have a defensive injury for that game, do we? No. Yeah, I'd want to see Thiago Silva start. I'll say that. I would like to see him start.
Yeah, same. But next to him, would you stick with Rudiger like we had against Fulham, or would you go back to Zuma? Because Rudiger wasn't bad against Fulham, other than not scoring headers that Zuma probably would have scored.
Low-key, I'm hearing that Lampard might prefer Antonio Rudiger to Kurt Zuma. Like, that's what I've heard from my sources, and I can't really say too much about that as well. Also, you don't have to take my word for granted. I'm not going to sit here and just become a giant in the know. I'm just going to say, this is what I've heard. If you want to agree with me, cool. If you don't want to agree with me, I don't blame you either, because I'm not coming at you with anything factual or credible. I'm just saying this is what I've heard. So it's literally just trust me if you want. But I've heard he's might be preferring Antonio Rudiger as an option. So if he is, you could see the pair of them start again. You could. Like, it would be a while back before we really start seeing them play regularly because of the run of games that we've got coming in. We've got, after this, I think it's one more league game and then another 3 in the space of a week. Or I think it's the next 3 in the space of a week or something like that. So we'll have to wait.
FA Cup next. Then we've got Wolves. And don't we have the next FA Cup round already after that?
No. It's Wolves and it's the cup game. Then it's Wolves, Burnley, and Tottenham. So that might all be within the space of a week.
Okay, and then it's the next cup game.
Yeah, it's Luton Town. Then it's Wolves. Yeah, Wolves, Burnley, and Spurs all in a week. And then Sheffield United 3 days after that as well.
Yeah, and then between Sheffield and Newcastle is next cup round.
Yeah. So that's where we're going to see that's when we're going to wait. There's another cup game in between that.
Well, we haven't won against Luton yet, so I'm sure another cup round will come into there if we beat Luton.
Oh no, but I thought that'd be mid-February. Don't tell me you've got another one potentially.
I think so, because we're now only doing February. I'd assume so. We usually have one more FA Cup round if before the Champions League comes back. Usually.
Yeah, I think that's the Luton Town game, but I think the third one is. It'll be near enough about, so we'll figure it out. But back to.
Yeah, with Rudiger and Zuma. See, I'm not sure because obviously I don't know what you just said. Like obviously,
I prefer Kurt Zuma. I think their styles of play like complement each other so much better than any of the other centre backs that we have as well. And plus, they're both shaky on the ball, but Rudiger is way worse. I'd be a lot more calmer with Kurt Zuma on the ball than Antonio Rudiger. I know there's very low circumstances with the pair of them, like they're both not that good, and that's an
interesting one because Zuma is, we can agree all of this. I know Rudiger scored a brace with headers from corners against Leicester last season, but Rudiger doesn't do this enough to like warrant this right now.
That's Rudiger's only highlight of last season. The rest was just a bunch of errors.
Zuma is certainly a bigger threat attacking wise, right? It's interesting because I think under pressure that Zuma is maybe slightly bit better on the ball, but in terms of long balls and creating chances from a centre-back position, Rudiger is the one that's better. So that's the weird.
That's the thing, but Rudiger's passing is also sloppy as well. Like I get what you're saying. Kurt Zuma, also to his credit, and also to take it back as well. He's great on recovery tackles. Half the time he makes a mistake himself, and he's just tracking back and correcting his error. So it goes both ways with the pair of them. That's why both of them aren't really the finished article. But I'd take Kurt Zuma more because I think he's better athletically. And also, I think he's our best chance of getting a goal. I think our highest XG is Mason Mount off to Kurt Zuma on a corner. So I'd rather him compared to Kurt Zuma, especially the last 2 games. I've seen plenty of chances going on to Rudiger's head or to his feet, and he ain't put him in the back of the net. Now, I know Kurt Zuma would have put 1 or 2 of them in the back of the net as well. And we aren't scoring a lot. So I'd rather go for the centre-back that I know can get us more goals off a set piece. So I'd go for Kurt Zuma. But I don't think... No, he'll start. He didn't play the last game. So, yeah, he'll definitely start.
the one thing that, in my opinion, goes especially for Rudiger is Jamie Vardy, because Rudiger is our fastest centre back. I mean, the Chelsea players have confirmed that numerous times. That currently probably Werner. Yeah, I mean, there's Chelsea players say Rudiger and Werner are the two fastest players, with Tomori up there as well, are the fastest players in the
play. Fair play, then.
Considering we're playing against Vardy, having a particularly fast centre back is probably ideal. Asuma was fast, but then he had a knee injury. He's not been so fast ever since, I don't think. I think that's when that happened. So that is the advantage that Rudiger has, but I would personally still stick to Antonio Rudiger. And what Ben Stokes said, Jamie Vardy is a doubt, but Brendan Rodgers did say in his press conference that he is expecting him to be back. But obviously, we don't know whether, he comes back and is able to start, or whether he will only come back from the bench. So, there is that. But I think we can both agree Thiago Silva and Kurt Zouma if it's down to us. I think obviously a left back, Ben Chilwell, right?
Yeah, Ben Chilwell starts.
And then right back, if he's fully fit, hopefully it has to be Reece James. As much as Aspie works hard and tries his very best, he just ain't it anymore. He just ain't it. And if we have the option of Reece James, it should be Reece James over Aspie without a doubt, I think, right?
Yeah, Aspie, the thing with him is he needs a run of games to get back to his best. Like, this is the first season where he's really been out of the first team for long periods. And I think that's what's getting to him. I still think as a second option, he's our best second right back we could ever ask for. And that's a perfect option for us. But I wanted Reece James rested for the Fulham game so he could be fit for this game. So I'd happily go Reece James as well.
Fair. And then sticking to a 4-3-3, especially when Kante isn't fit, a double pivot sounds even more scary to me. So
I'd want a 4-2-3-1, but we ain't getting a 4-2-3-1. So I don't.
But tell me what you want, anyways. Who would you play in that double pivot then?
I want Billy Gilmour, and I would say Kovacic on ability, but not Kovacic on form. So
that's why I'm saying I wouldn't play 4-2-3-1.
That's the thing. No, not Jorginho. Someone said to me maybe Mason Mount as a DM next to him in the pivot, and I wouldn't mind that, but I also very unlikely see that happening. So, okay, the lineup I want, I'd go for Mateo Kovacic. I know he ain't gonna play like that right now, but if we're doing it on ability, I'd go Kovacic and Gilmour.
Okay, fair. I mean, I would stick to a 4-3-3. Play Billy as the 6. And then for the 8, I'm really not sure, because Mount and Havertz is a very attacking combination against Leicester City, against their midfield. It's a tough one. It's a really tricky one, and I can understand why people wouldn't want that. It's just, I'm not sure what's better, because we saw Kovacic play. He was awful against Arsenal, was subbed off at halftime. He didn't play against Villa. Then he plays against City, he was awful again. And doesn't play Morecambe, and now he plays again against Fulham and was again awful. So, as much as we know how great Kovacic can be, I don't think right now he's just it. I'm sorry, I just don't think it's it. But it's also risky. Yeah, exactly. So I would go Mount and Havertz, but I would ask Mount to be quite a bit more defensive and quite a bit more helping Billy out. That's what I would like to see. Not make it a fully 4-2-3-1. I would stick to a 4-3-3, but have Mount almost do what Kante used to do, and Havertz to be like the more attacking of the 8, if you will.
Yeah, I've thought Havertz would have played the Fulham game over the Leicester game, to be honest. I still want him to start just as a result, because even in a 4-2-3-1, him in the 10 would be perfect. So he goes into my team. In the number 8, I'm not really as sure, because I think under pressure he might struggle a little bit still. But he's still a quality player. I still think it's just adapting to the Premier League, which we are going to need to be patient with. But we can't really afford to play both Jorginho and Kovacic again, or either of the pair. So, yeah, I'd go with yours as well.
Yeah, I mean, but you said 4-2-3-1, and then Havertz will be your 10, right, I assume? Or would Mount be your 10? I'll make you mute yourself.
Yeah, that was an accident. Yeah. I'd go Kai Havertz. I'd go Kai Havertz as the 10. I'd go Kovacic and Billy Gilmour.
Maybe you drop Mount right now.
We're doing this on form, so yeah, Kovacic can drop back out. Yeah, cool. We'll go Mason Mount in the DM. I'm just not too sure about him in the DM.
Yeah, that's totally fair. It's totally fair.
I'll take it. I don't mind. Go on, what you saying?
Exactly. Thomas said Mount this week will get bodied by Ndidi all game. You're not wrong by that, but hey, who the hell do we have? We loaned out Barkley and Ruben. the ones that aren't weak. So we can't exactly be saying our Mount is weak. Well, it's too late for that discussion now. Kovacic won't win any duels either, let's be honest. Neither will Havertz, neither will Jorginho. Billy will win some, but not all of them either. So yes, Mount will get bodied probably, but we don't have an option that doesn't. So we don't really have a solution to that issue, really. On the right, I would personally stick to Ziyech. Don't know about yourself.
If it's Hudson-Odoi on the left, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I was getting to that. Not that Pulisic was awful against Fulham, but if Hudson-Odoi doesn't start again, I was already saying, we'd be on the fences, we'd be rioting if he doesn't start Fulham. But to make it worse now, if he doesn't start Leicester, honestly, I'm not sure if you saw this stat, right? But from the last Chelsea goals, 8 Chelsea goals, Chelsea only scored 1 of them without Hudson-Odoi on the pitch.
Yeah, Alex said the stat that in our last 4 games, we've scored 4 goals. Callum Hudson-Odoi has been responsible for 2 of them, and he's only played 1 of the last 4 games.
Exactly. And that's where it comes in. Hudson-Odoi has to start. There's no question about it. And then up front, I would personally go for Tammy Abraham. I think we should do that. I think he gives us a good mix.
Both games either.
Yeah. And I just don't want to see Werner play, to me. I'm sorry. I don't.
It's a sticky one with Werner, but in the system and the style that we play, I don't think it would suit him anyway. So I do agree with you on that. But also with Tammy Abraham, I can't be asked for 90 minutes of him just struggling in the air against centre-backs again. So I don't know. Up front, it's just annoying regardless, because if it ain't Giroud, I ain't that confident. But yeah, it is going to be Tammy Abraham that starts. It makes sense that it would be Tammy Abraham that starts. I would be surprised if Werner gets benched for 2 games, because other than Mason Mount, he's played the most minutes for us this season. So I'd expect him to get more game time.
It's true, but I think that's what he kind of needs at the moment as well, to be honest. A bit like Pulisic had it last season. I think Werner almost don't even bring him on anymore, because just see what happens against Fulham. Like, that can't help his confidence. Just have him be in training, have him find his confidence more and more and more. And when you see he's a bit more back to it, then start using him again. There's no point right now. Every time he plays, I'm not sure whether this was true, but someone said he was crying after the game. I don't know whether that is true, but don't put him in this situation anymore then. And I know I'm not his biggest fan, but he's still a Chelsea player and I want the best for them. I want him to score, because the more he scores, the better Chelsea do.
I know, but some of those chances really are just on him. Like, I can't explain away the first one, because that was literally Alvaro Morata versus Arsenal.
It literally was.
Goal, nobody near you for yards, and you've put it further away from the goal than towards the goal. Like, cool, we can talk about form and confidence all we want, but bro, to a professional striker that probably trains nearly every day, that in the big moment, I can't say nothing about that. So it's like, I'd still bring him off as the bench as a perfect option, but just be clinical, man. Get more clinical, please. That's literally all we need from this guy. We said that earlier on the stream as well, but that's the point with him.
It really is. That is the point. And it is what we need. It is what we need. We need him to get more clinical. I know you like Olivier Giroud a bit more than you'd like Tammy, but you also know Oli can't start both. I think, see, this is where I'm coming from. I think Oli and Tammy give us about as much as each other, with strengths in certain different aspects. But I think overall they are about as good as each other for us. But why I would always pick Tammy over Oli is because Tammy's younger and there's room for improvement. Giroud isn't going to get so much better anymore. That's why I rather pick Tammy than him, because I don't think Giroud does like that much more for us. But Giroud probably can't start anyway after playing against Fulham. So for me, it's Tammy. But what do you think Frank will do? Because Mendy will start.
People will start. Saying Andreas Christensen in the pivot, by the way. Very beautiful options, whoever's saying that.
See, if you didn't know, guys, and you don't follow like Lewis on Twitter and his YouTube channel, of course, he's a big fan of
every day. You already know. Danish Maldini, I've already said that. And I'm only saying this because the amount of criticism that this guy gets is so undeserved. I'm not saying play him over Thiago Silva every week. I'm saying as a squad option, if we had one injury, Andreas Christensen is a great option to bring on. And I know I can trust on him regardless. Yeah, he needs to get a bit stronger. I don't care. If you're going to tell me that he's worse than not Kurt Zouma. If you're going to tell me that he's worse than Antonio Rudiger, I don't want to hear it. Antonio Rudiger's mistake FC. But you want to give him a second chance? We don't want to give Christensen. Don't make sense to me.
I agree with this. I don't think Christensen is as good as you think he is, but I don't think he's worse than Rudiger.
I don't think he's going to start every game for us, but I think he's a great squad player. And as a player that we could use if one of the players is injured or for cup games or whatever you want or lesser league teams, I think he's a great option for us to have. People really act like this guy is basically Bakayoko but at centre-back, and he really isn't. I've said this season, he's made one mistake, the Liverpool red card. Other than that, like pinpoint me a mistake that he's done single-handedly that's led to a goal. Other than that, there's nothing.
People will find mistakes and blame him for things, but people try to blame Jorginho.
Was disgusting. Yeah, like everyone say, "Oh, this fairy on the ground for 30 minutes." I mean, for 30 minutes, so we conceded.
Just like, because no one wants to criticize Kante.
What?
Just because no one wants to criticize Kante.
Exactly. Like N'Golo Kante wasn't partly to blame for that. Like fucking. What was it? Like there wasn't a handball in the build-up to that goal as well. And it's not like Andreas Christensen played on through the injury and was out for 2 weeks because he overplayed himself. Or for John Terry to come out of nowhere and to flay the guy on Instagram only to find out he's wrong. Well, what did JT think he was doing? Did he think he was going to motivate Christensen? Oh, I'm injured, but JT's now gone and put me on blast on Instagram. That's going to do great for my confidence. Big up JT, but he moved dumb with that tweet. I can't lie.
But I guess he didn't know he was injured, didn't it? But you don't
run your mouth as a centre back. Come on now.
That is true. I don't really understand what you're saying, Stripper. You said this before we went live as well. You were talking about something with mod. If you want to be a mod on my channel, DM me and we'll get that sorted. But I do appreciate.
By the way, big up Stripper. I'll be real, very good mod.
Exactly. So
he's mod for basically everyone at this point.
Exactly. So DM me, Instagram, Twitter, you'll get involved with both. I'll see them, trust me. So DM me there and we'll get that sorted. I'm a complete bugger, but I'm okay as a mod. Hey, Lewis says you're a good mod, so I'm going to take Lewis' word for it, and I do appreciate the donation. But yeah, let me quickly, because obviously the Tomori thing, wait, who asked it? Do you know what's happening with Tomori? Tomori is going on loan to AC Milan tomorrow, probably, with an option to buy for 30 million euros. Not an obligation, even though a journalist in a press conference today called it an obligation. That's wrong. I don't know where he's got his misinformation from, but it's an option to buy. And 90% of the time, Italian clubs, AC Milan, don't tend to trigger options to buy. So the likelihood of Tomori coming back in the summer is pretty big. But hey, if Tomori can go out there and come back with a Serie A medal, hey, Vic, do your best, get that Serie A medal, and I'd love it.
Is it 6 months or 18 months?
6 months, I think, as far as I'm.
Oh, I thought it was like a long-term deal. Okay, cool. But even
I don't think
now, if Lampard's still manager and he has a good 6 months, that might be the end for Tomori. And as a player, I think his ceiling is just as high as Christensen's is, in my opinion. It might even be higher as a centre-back because he's got all the athletic attributes for it. And that's what we were all saying. Andreas.
18 months. Someone else said 18 months. I must have got that wrong then, personally. It might be 18. Yeah, you go check on that. You go check on that. I will just go to Bernhard's comment here saying Ampadu as a CDM would be a good option if he wasn't on loan. Yeah, exactly. That's why we shouldn't have put him on loan. Because, yeah, Billy Gilmour is all well and good. But we already had the Billy Gilmour deal.
Short-term loan deal.
Yeah, so I was thinking 6 months, right?
Yeah, 6 months, 6 months.
All right. The Ampadu one, like Billy Gilmour is all well and good. But if we're going to use Billy Gilmour as a 6, we would have had to sell Jorginho. Right.
Can I be real about Ampadu? Like, I was chatting to one of the Sheffield United. Well, I was watching one of the Sheffield United fan channels speaking about him. Apparently, Ampadu's having a terrible season. He had one good game against Newcastle, and apparently he's been shocking for them since.
But let's be honest, has any Sheffield player this season not been shocking?
I know Sheffield United's squad would probably have been shocking, but same way, these are watching him every week and they're struggling to find positives out of Ampadu. Yeah, it could be the case where the team's struggling, but same way you can see good individual performances in bad games. Sheffield United's form as well. If you look at their games, they've only been pammed, like when I'm saying pammed, lost by 2 or more goals against us and against Everton when they lost 2-0 or something like that. Other than that, they've only really lost their games by 1 goal. So we're looking at...
Didn't they get battered by City?
I don't think Man City, but let me have a look.
I'm not 100% sure. And yeah, no, you do make a fair point. Ampadu has struggled a little bit, but I still think I would prefer him as the DM against Leicester now than I would either Billy or Jorginho.
Man City was 1-0.
Oh, fair. But hey, that's all I'm saying. That's all where I'm coming from. I would prefer a slightly more physical option in that position. But the next positions, I guess, who do you think Frank will start? Obviously, do you think he will pick Rudiger and Thiago then as centre back?
I think he'll go Zuma and Christensen for that game. He'll just rotate the pair of them.
Do you think? But
Yeah,
we can rotate with Luton on the weekend, can't we? Like Thiago Silva isn't going to play against Luton.
I know, but it's like there's a 4-day gap before the Leicester match or a 3-day gap, and then there's another 5 days after that. You run the risk of another injury, and we've got a more cramped fixture list coming up in the next week, and then February coming in as well. So you do got to manage a game at a time, so I could see both of them get rested.
I think Thiago will start because Frank knows his job is on the line. That's why I think he will start him.
Maybe. I mean, that coming into account might push me a bit more into thinking Thiago Silva, but also with what I've seen from the season, I wouldn't be surprised to see Zuma and Christensen start. And this isn't me trying to push Christensen agenda. I genuinely think it's going to be the pair of them.
Yeah, but hey, we'll see. We'll see.
Or maybe Rudiger and another. It could be Rudiger and Zuma as well.
It could be. I think he will stick to a 4-3-3.
An awful partnership. They were amazing the first 3 games of the season before Thiago Silva joined, but cool.
Wasn't West? Oh no, West Brom was first.
No, West Brom was Thiago Silva and Christian centre back out of the 2 that game as well. But no one's talking about it.
He was, yeah. No, it's true. It's true. I think he'll stick to a 4-3-3 though. What about yourself?
Yeah, Lampard. Like we already know the answer to that.
Exactly. First of all, Ziyech, how you doing? I hope you're well. If it's really you, mate, drop us a follow.
Yeah, big up Ziyech, man. What are you saying?
Exactly. But again, like I said earlier already, we have nearly 150 people watching. Big up yourselves. So smash the like button, subscribe to myself, subscribe to Lewis. But yeah, like Lewis said, like I myself said, 4-3-3, we're probably going to stick to that. I think he will stick to Jorginho as the DM. I won't agree with it, but I think he will. I think Kovacic will keep playing.
Oh, you just said Jorginho. Oh, yeah. I got that.
And I think Mount will keep playing. I think he will play the exact same midfield 3 that got battered by Fulham. Maybe Gilmour, but I'm pretty sure.
Also, you told me this guy's job on the line. He might play Thiago Silva, and then you're telling me he'll play Jorginho and Kovacic back-to-back games.
Yeah, I think so. No, maybe Billy instead of Jorginho, but I'm pretty sure Kovacic and Mount will play again. I don't think he'll start.
If Billy Gilmour and Callum Hudson-Odoi do not play this game, I swear down. If they don't start, I'm going to be so fuming. Like, Jorginho, I like Jorginho, but what's he done for the last 2 months? What's Kovacic done for the last month?
Yeah, no, it's true.
Games was against Sheffield United and fucking Burnley. Like, these guys ain't good. These guys are not good enough right now. Please, I beg we do some rotation. I want to see Kante in the. If we're doing 4-3-3, put Kante in the centre midfield role. Billy Gilmour as the lone DM, and maybe go for Mason Mount or Kai Havertz, one or the other. That would be my dream in midfield 3 in a 4-3-3 right now. If you're going to go for it.
Obviously, other than Kante being injured.
Oh yeah, Kante's out. Kante's out. I completely forgot. Yeah, I lost that for a second. Sorry.
So yeah, I just feel like he will start Jorginho, Kovacic, and Mount. Maybe Gilmour, Kovacic, and Mount. I don't know. I just have to feel. I still don't know if Gilmour will be that much better than Jorginho, personally, because he has his dodgy moments as well. Personally,
is there's few and far between as Jorginho's are though. Because Jorginho, I like him, but it's a case of preference. He's okay for recycling possession. Cool. We can dominate possession all we want.
I do think what Jorginho does well is Jorginho knows where to be and intercept the ball without it looking like he did anything. He's just stood there and gets it. Jorginho does that more than Billy, and probably will.
Jorginho's a quality player. Like, even though I do think we do need to get rid of him because I don't think he fits our system. He is a quality player, like the guy said in the comment section. Instrumental for Italy. We ain't Italy though. And I ain't seen that over the last few months. And it's because of the style of play that we play. But same way, as a consequence, as a result of that, we are not getting the best out of Jorginho. So I don't want to see him play. I think Billy Gilmour's more versatile. I think whatever Jorginho offers, Billy Gilmour offers that more. But he's more aggressive. He's more quicker. He covers more ground quicker as well. And what else could we say? Going forward, I prefer him as well. I think he's a lot more attack-minded. Jorginho,
I think just interceptions. That's the only thing where Jorginho is better, personally.
Yes, but even that's regressed with Jorginho this season as well. Like all of his best, all of the best attributes of Jorginho, we are not seeing it. And that's where it's like, okay, is this a player? Is this a system issue? I'm not sure. But the one thing I can tell you is that Jorginho ain't working for us right now.
Yeah. And Pedro, yes, I have many a times in the double pivot. But when I see Aspie play, I can't handle Aspie playing a right back if Reece James is fit. So that's why Reece James has to play right back. But yeah, I think that's that. Obviously, the midfield three is a tricky one to predict. And as for the front three, Ziyech will start again. I think. Do you think Werner or Tammy? He will, like Frank will go with Werner or Tammy.
I was gonna say I think he ain't gonna play Ziyech over Hudson-Odoi, is he? Like the more I'm thinking, because I know anyway. It's gonna be Tammy and Timo. Like they will take 2 of those 3 places. I've already accepted that. We're gonna have Werner probably. Werner has had the second most minutes for us, other than Mason Mount, and this was the first game that we benched him in. Yes, and that's because there was a game 4 days later, in my opinion. So there's no way that we ain't gonna see both Tammy and Timo Werner play. I think the right-hand side will see Hudson-Odoi, only because, I swear down, this merit thing that Lampard said has already been outed as BS. But if you don't play Hudson-Odoi after the last 15 minutes that we had, then I've got no more words to describe it. Hudson-Odoi has to play against Leicester tomorrow. He literally has to. He's been our best winger over the last 4 games, and he's only started 1 of them. That shouldn't be fun. Hakim Ziyech is cool, quality player, but I don't like the way that we use him because we restrict him. So, and that as well as the fact that no, he was okay against Fulham. I won't say too much about that.
He was all right.
The better one out of the 2. I could take Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech in both wings, and maybe Tammy Abraham up front. But I just don't see Frank Lampard doing that. He also has to get the best out of Timo Werner. He's not getting the best out of the 2 biggest signings that we made in the summer transfer window. That's going to be a factor that Abramovich looks at too. So he's obviously going to have to play Werner more to get the best out of him. I want to see him play on the right-hand side because that's where we could personally get the best out of him in a 4-3-3. He's not doing that, though. I know he's not doing that. If Werner plays, Tammy plays, he's playing on the left wing.
For sure. And, I mean, if Werner plays up front, if Tammy plays up front, Werner on the left can be okay if Werner takes his chances. But I actually think he'll drop Werner again, personally, because I think he's had a bit of enough of him as well. I think he'll play him again against Luton and hope he'll get some goals and some confidence again. I think that's the plan. I actually think he won't play him again. I think he will do Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech because he brought Hudson-Odoi on for Ziyech against Fulham, not for Pulisic. That's why I think Ziyech will start again. Okay. And Hudson-Odoi. And I don't think he'll go Tammy up top, Werner up top. He might do because Leicester, they aren't like super deep. Obviously, they're not like crazy high line like Liverpool or whatever. So it might be an option, but I don't know. I think Callum on the left, Ziyech on the right, and Tammy up top is what I think he'll do. I could be totally wrong, and it could be what you said.
That would be the best one I'd see us making a 4-3-3. But yeah, I don't see that happening. I think because we said Havertz will probably pick him as well, right?
No, I don't think he will, but I would love him to.
Okay, so we're saying he probably won't start Havertz and Ziyech for consecutive games. I mean, Havertz and Werner for consecutive games. Yeah. That is going to be damning on Lampard himself, because if we end up performing without them, they're going to start asking questions. Well, why did you make us spend 160 million on these 2 and you ain't even going to play the pair of them?
Yeah. they were, I mean, I think he would like to start Kai, but I think he can't drop Mason, and because Kante is injured, that's why he can't. If Kante was fit, he would play Mount and Kai. But I think because Kante is injured, that's why I think he won't. Just to be a bit more defensively solid.
Okay, well, at the very least, he can explain away Kai Havertz, but Timo Werner, not as much.
No, I mean, just form. Explain it like that. He's awful. Don't play him. that's my stance on it. Just don't play the kid.
It's facts. It's so jarring.
It really is. Honestly, it's depressing. Like, we've gone through the season, and obviously Timo was great, and after the Southampton game, even though it was awful at the end with the 3-3, there was still, we were all gassed about this Timo Werner thing. The international break happens, that 6-0 against Spain happens, and ever since it's just been awful. That Newcastle game, yes, he had the good assisting for Tammy, but the sitters he's missed. And I started criticizing him then already, and people were insulting me and scrutinizing me and all sorts. He's just been awful ever since that Newcastle game. Honestly, it's not been it. It's absolutely not been it. But my friend, are you any sort of confident ahead of the game or not?
I'm only confident because this Premier League season doesn't make sense. There's been freak results all over the place. So we got to go in there with a chance at least. I'm in full tie mode. We have a chance. So I believe in Chelsea. And
We have a chance. We do have a chance. We do have a chance. If Vardy doesn't start, we have a big chance. If Vardy does start,
oh no, I heard he'll be back for tomorrow.
I think so as well. But there is also a chance that he doesn't. But I think it's a tough one. But it's one in our situation we have to win. Even a draw, I wouldn't be satisfied with. I would probably accept the draw, but you can't be satisfied with it. I mean, Leicester are only 6 points ahead of us, but I say only. If we lose tomorrow, it's 9. If we win, it's obviously only 3, and then it's barely a gap. But we need this win. We absolutely do. And Frank needs this win. And at this point, I'm not sure anymore. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago after the Man City results, all of the reliable sources and outlets were telling us that Frank Lampard is going to be given a bit more time. He did get the win against Fulham. But when does this a bit more time stop? When does this a bit more time stop? Because especially losing...
Top 4 looks genuinely in danger. Right now it doesn't because we're only 4 points away, which is why you can afford to give Frank Lampard time. But I already said as well, Frank Lampard's also only being given this time because 1, it's Frank Lampard. 2, look at the state of the league this season. Yeah. We've missed opportunities to make up that ground, but same way they've missed opportunities to leave us in the mud too. So it goes both ways. Lampard has time to change it around because there's options too. But if it looked like we couldn't make top 4, he'd be out straight because the club needs to make top 4 for financials.
And Haaland, apparently.
Yeah, we ain't getting Haaland if we don't make top 4. And that's not even because we're a Europa League team. It's because we won't be able to afford that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, in the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, Ziyech, I'm just going to call you Ziyech because I never know how to pronounce this as SZN thing.
Oh,
I don't know
season.
Just season.
Yeah, that's literally just season in short.
I see. I'm just a fresh pot in it. Ziyech season then. Will we finish top 4? What do you reckon, Liz?
Well, we can. No, we got the squad for it.
No. I'm not taking a we can. I'm taking a will we or not.
Yeah, with Chelsea. Fuck it.
Exactly. See, that's my thing. I'm going to keep saying we're going to finish top 4 until it happens. I'm just going to talk it into existence. Like I did last season towards the end, even though when we was 5th a couple of games before the end, and then we pipped Leicester at the end. I was like, yes, it's happening.
No, but that's the thing, because if I didn't think we were going to make top 4, then I'd just be Lampard out. I'd say sack him now and get a manager that will make us top 4.
This is true.
We're 4 points top 4th. If I'm telling you that I don't think we can get top 4 and we're only 4 points away, then the reason why is the manager. Whether I've said it or not, then that's the reason why.
You know that we're actually further away, though, because people have games in hand.
How many teams really have games in hand, though? We have...
Almost every team ahead of us have one in hand.
No, that's a bit of a myth. I can't lie. Villa are in 10th with 3 games in hand on us. Everton are above us by 3 points with a game in hand on us too. Man City have a game in hand in 2nd, but we don't need to think about that because they're in 2nd. And we're level on points we're level on games played with everybody else.
Oh yeah, and Everton have a game in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's only 3 teams that we're really thinking too much about. And it's only 3 points as well. That can go back or forth depending on a win or a loss.
Yeah. Except Villa, obviously. In theory, if Villa win all their 3 games, they're all of a sudden 6 points ahead of us.
Yeah, looking at the teams above us, though, to be fair, only Leicester's level on goal difference with us. Everton as well. The rest are all above us. Okay, that's its own thing in itself, but I look more towards goal difference than points total at this point because the league table is so tight. We could go up or down how many places depending on goals scored. So one thing we need is the one thing we need for years. Be clinical, and then maybe we'll do a bit better this season.
Yeah, exactly. I think what we've seen this season from our team is once we get a goal, and then once we get a second goal, we start playing well against everybody. But because we take so long to get any goal, we look like the stupidest idiots of all time. We pass slow. The only thing we do is cross, and people start sitting back. The opponents get confident that we won't do anything anyway, and everything becomes more and more difficult because we make things so unnecessarily difficult for ourselves all the bloody time. It's a bit of a tricky one. But we've been going for 1 hour and 5 minutes. I'm going to force you to give me a good score prediction ahead of tomorrow.
2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea.
Chelsea have to win, so I'm going with Chelsea to win. Form, paper, probably doesn't make sense right now to say Chelsea would win, but same way, this Premier League season doesn't make sense. We, on form, on paper, on whatever you want, we should have battered Arsenal. Didn't batter them. So Aston Villa as well with Liverpool. There's so many games like this where it doesn't make sense. We were 3-0 down to West Brom at one point, for goodness sake. So, yeah.
Fulham beat Leicester.
Exactly. So I could see us going and getting a win against Leicester. Their home record.
We're just going to make it that simple. Fulham beat Leicester. We beat Fulham, so we will beat Leicester, obviously.
Exactly. So I don't care. It can go around like that. It don't make sense to say, and I'm looking at the comment section. There's barely any confidence. But yeah, I'm going 2-1 Chelsea. We got this.
Exactly. We got this. I think so as well. But obviously, guys, this has been the first kind of preview on this channel before the time being, at least. I'm not doing it on Blues Fans TV, probably for a while though. People will be asking, is Vardy playing? Is he not? He most likely is, but there is a small question mark to him. If you want to quickly have some sort of question answer, because I'm going to start the outro now, be sure to use the super chat function. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it at that. I will see you again on this channel on Wednesday, the day after the Leicester City game. Of course, the live review will still be on Blues Fans TV tomorrow, straight after the game, as will Lewis's watch along and phone in and all sorts. On Wednesday, I will be having Dan McCarthy on. If you don't know him, what you're doing. But I will be having Dan McCarthy on, and that will be interesting, I hope. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a positive result. Hopefully, that would be great. But yeah, guys, that will happen on 4:30 on Wednesday, because obviously Dan lives in a different time zone and shit. So 4:30 p.m. UK time. But yeah, Lewis, first of all, massive thank you for coming on. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. I hope everybody in the chat enjoyed it. Like I said already, subscribe to Lewis. Shout yourself out. You know, bro, shout yourself out. Do that.
Yeah, guys, Carefree Lewis G, YouTube, Twitter. You guys already know. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the like and subscribe button. Wrong hand. Hit the like and subscribe button on Laurenz as well. You already know. Smash it and smash it on all the socials. And yeah, let's hope we beat Leicester City, because we need to start beating top 6 teams, and we haven't done that yet.
Exactly. That's what we need to do. Like Lewis said, subscribe to him. Subscribe to myself. If you're new here, that'd be massively appreciated. I'm still on that grind to the 8K before we get to the 10K. So the more of you guys that subscribe, the quicker we will get there. Smash that like button when you're watching it right now or later on as a video. But yeah, I'll see you again on Wednesday. Like TMX said, smash the like button. Doesn't cost you any money, barely cost you any time. Same goes for the subscriptions. So go and do that. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.